And we know that this is true when we look at productivity, that it's not about the number of things that you did. It's not about how many things you got checked off your list. Is it how many hours you spent at work that will determine how productive you are? Can you have one person who spends 8 hours at work and another person who spends 12 hours at work? Can the 8-hour-a-day person be more productive than the 12-hour-a-day person? Okay, yes, so you know this is true, that it doesn't matter how many hours you sat there, that dictates how productive you were or the results you were able to produce. True? So when we look at productivity and our activities, we want to pick the thing that is going to be the critical output, value, impact, productivity, profitability, weight, worth. What is it for you that when you pick it is not something easy, trivial, knock it off the list? What if at the end of the day you only got 4 things done? Can 4 things done actually be a more productive day than 9? Yes, if the 4 or 2 out of those were the most critical. So under activity, we need to remember that it's fascinating because a lot of the rules and our procedures and the way that we process things were done for different times, for different people, for different situations. And nobody is going and looking at how we do things in this organization. Does it even make sense? And when you really spend some time and back away from the task and talk with your coworkers, it's fascinating how people can take something that took 8 days and now all of a sudden it's 2. And it's just because, we've never really spent the time to talk about this before. I was working with a VP of HR whose department was responsible for generating training reports for the various divisions in her organization. And I always try to get down to the lowest level person till I get to the admin. And I talk with her and I say, hey, what are you doing? What's the deal with these training reports? And she said, I don't know. I do them. That's just part of my job. I've been trained on how to do it. I said, how long does it take you? It takes me about 5 hours a month. Wow. And what do you do with them? She said, I deliver them to our clients, and here's how I distribute them internally. I said, well, what do they do with them? She said, I don't know. I said, oh, you don't know. Well, do me a favor. I said, do me a favor. Next time you send out these training reports, put a note on there that says, if you'd like to continue receiving these reports, call me. Guess how many calls she got? Zero. And she's crushed, right? Because isn't this valuable work? Okay, we don't want to negate the work that people do and how they're spending their time. True, this is something that she had been doing for all these years, was paid to do it, no calls, and she's crushed, right? Because, I've been doing, nobody cares about my work, and nobody, right? And I'm like, are you kidding? This is a wonderful opportunity for you to be of service, for you to provide value, for you to improve this process. Why don't you go talk to your internal customers? So she went around and I sent you this report, you didn't call me, and how do you use it? And it turned out all they were doing was they said, I kind of turned to page 5 and I like this graph. I look at this graph and I kind of read this. And she said, well, could I give you an executive summary and this graph once a quarter? They said, sure, that'd be great. So now she's spending 2 hours once a quarter instead of 5 hours once a month. Is this better? And it's providing increased value to the customer, right? So you have to always be looking and always be asking and challenging. And what level of detail is required here? Have you ever asked yourself the question, if I didn't do this at all, would anybody notice? That is a really good productivity question.